Oh, I think we're going to get lucky. Yeah, there we go.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Christina Kraft, a lifestyle medicine specialist. In our busy world, figuring out what a healthy lifestyle looks like can feel overwhelming, and there's truly no one-size-fits-all approach to creating health. On Handcrafted Life, we show you what well-being looks like for us, inspired by the principles of lifestyle medicine. Join us as we share our experiences, and maybe you'll find some inspiration to craft your own unique path to health and happiness.
Hey, welcome to Handcrafted Kitchen. I am Dr. Christina Kraft, a lifestyle medicine doctor, and today we're making dessert. I think dessert is really wonderful, and I bet you do too. A lot of times when people are looking at a healthy lifestyle, healthy diet, they think they can't have dessert, but you can. You just don't eat the entire cheesecake. You eat part of the cheesecake. And then if you make the cheesecake yourself, you know what goes into it and you have control over those ingredients. You can decrease sugar. You can add organic, different graham crackers to make that amazing graham cracker crust like we're going to make today. And you can use products that are non-dairy, because I can't eat dairy and a lot of people can't either. Our bodies just don't digest it very well. So today, let's do that. We're going to start with some organic graham crackers, some Miyoko's, I always say that word wrong, correct me if I've got it wrong, Miyoko's non-dairy butter, and some coconut sugar. And we're going to grind up our graham crackers in our food processor. So I have got 9 graham crackers in this sleeve, and the recipe calls for about 10. Now, I really like a thick graham cracker crust, so I'm going to add just a few more. If you don't have a food processor, you can put these in a big Ziploc bag or two and get a hammer and get out some frustration. But this works a little bit easier, a little bit less messy. All right, so I'm going to add 12 graham crackers. Break them up just a bit so it gets going easier. And get our lid on. Turn it on. Okay, we've got a few chunks still, so I'm going to pulse that a little bit. And you can see that happens pretty quick. So now that these are pulsed in, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. I'm going to be using a mixture today of regular sugar and coconut sugar. Coconut sugar has a different glycemic index than regular table sugar, which meaning it digests more slowly. So I like to use the combination rather than all coconut sugar because I like the flavor of the one and I like the benefits of the other. So combine them. Half better is still much better. All right, 1/4 cup of coconut sugar in with the graham crackers. Let's turn that on. Next, I'm going to stream in our melted butter. I've got 1/3 cup of melted butter, and I'll put this recipe in the notes so that you can see it without having to write all this down. Okay, you can see that has come together a bit. And always pull this blade out because it is sharp and it will fall on you. Toss that over here. And you can see our graham crackers are nice and moist, and when you pinch them, they kind of form a bit, and that's what's going to make our crust. So I have a springform pan here. To make a cheesecake, this is very helpful. So with this springform pan, the bottom comes out, and you take the bottom out by opening it up, and you have a bottom. Makes it much easier to release later. So just like I normally do, I've forgotten to preheat the oven, so we're going to start that now. 350 degrees, let's get that going. Our oven is now preheating, and we are going to pour our breadcrumbs into our springform pan. So go ahead and plop them right in. You don't really have to butter or oil the pan because the breadcrumbs are full of butter. So you have these in here. I like to get my fingers dirty. So I'm just going to reach in and start pressing these breadcrumbs into the bottom, forming a nice thick crust. Now, I'm not much of a stickler about having it all exactly perfectly flat. If you like it perfectly flat, You can use the bottom end of a measuring cup or a cup at all to push it down. But I kind of like the surprise of some areas being a little bit thicker and some areas being a little bit thinner. So I'm going through and just pressing this down pretty firmly, making sure there's no empty hole spots because that's going to affect the baking. And I'm going up the sides just a hair. So you can see this now. Everything's nice and pressed down. A little bit of looseness still. The key is to get just enough butter in here, or non-dairy butter, that it forms, but not so much that it's a greasy mess, because then that makes a greasy crust, and that's not very good. Okay, now that we have this formed into here, I am going to wash my hands and clean up a little bit, and then we're going to make the filling. Meet you back then. I've cleaned up my mess and ready to make another one. So we are going to make the filling for our cheesecake now. Here I have got a giant bowl so that I can mix it easily. I have got about 2.5 cups of non-dairy cream cheese. We made this in our last video, and if you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. It's really good and it's super easy. It's literally cashews, water, salt, and probiotic supplements. And it's actually a fermented food, which makes it even better for your gut health. We've got turbino sugar, a little bit more vitamin content than pure white table sugar, some vanilla extract, some eggs from our chickens outside, and this is my secret ingredient that you won't be able to get, but you can get some of your own or make some of your own. This is hibiscus pomegranate jam that we grew and made. And you can use any kind of jam or no jam at all, but I really like this. Hibiscus is a wonderful natural plant-based medicine. It lowers your blood pressure and it also helps with ligament stability. Let's get to mixing. So into this bowl, I'm going to put our cream cheese. This cream cheese is surprising. Most non-dairy cream cheese recipes, you have to add a bunch of things to fake the tanginess of the cream cheese flavor. This, because it's fermented, actually gets tangy without having to add a bunch of random lemon and weird yeasts and things. All right, we've got our cream cheese in the bowl, and we are going to put our sugar in. All right. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here because of my hand injury, and I'm going to use a power mixer. Now, you can cream this together by hand if you want. It's a good workout, and I recommend it. Today, my wrist's a little bit pissy, so we are going to use a power mixer. All right, into the bowl, and always start on low. So what we're looking for is our cream cheese and our sugar to start to cream together. Now, because I use the turbino sugar, this is going to take a bit longer, because this type of sugar has a larger, and that's our oven is preheated, which is good, has a larger grain. So I'm going to mix this for a while until most of the sugar crystals start to dissolve a bit. They won't all go away. That's all right. Just dissolve most of them. Okay, this is nicely mixed. I don't know if you can tell in this, but the sugar crystals have started to dissolve. So next I'm going to add my vanilla. I love vanilla. People think vanilla is like the boring flavor until it's missing. And then it's an amazing flavor because when it's missing, it's really missing. So most recipes call for 1 teaspoon. I put vanilla in recipes like I put garlic in recipes. It calls for 2 garlic cloves. That means 8. So we are going to do at least 2 tablespoons or teaspoons of vanilla. 1, 2, and then some. So good. It smells better than it tastes this way until you add it to things. So we're going to mix this in, and then we're going to start cracking in 1 egg at a time. Okay. 1 egg at a time. A good trick with your eggs when you crack them is to not actually crack them on the side of the bowl. That's a really good way to get shells into your mixture, which you can pick out, but if you crack them on the counter, not only do you make a bigger mess to clean up later, sometimes, but you can actually keep most of the shells out. And you're going to beat these eggs in 1 at a time so that they incorporate well. If you put them all in at the same time, it might go all over the place and it won't incorporate as well. So I'm going to smash that yolk open just to help the process start, and it's satisfying. There we go. So you can see with just this 1 egg added that the creaminess on this is starting to change. So I'm going to add the other 2 eggs 1 at a time, and then we'll pick this up again. All right, our mixture is ready and it is nice and liquidy. So now that we have this ready, we are going to put it in our pie shell. Here is our crust, still nicely pressed in the pan, and I am going to use this spatula that we use for the cream cheese and just scoop all this right on in here. Now, if you were to use this recipe with regular cream cheese rather than non-dairy cream cheese, which you could, it's a pretty much one-to-one swap. Not quite as good for you, but you could do that. You would have a little bit thicker of a texture after you had mixed this up. So when I eat cheesecake, my favorite part is the crust. So when it's so much cheesecake and just a little bit of crust, it makes me kind of sad. So you can add 3 cups of cream cheese and another egg if you'd like, and make this a little bit more thick. But I like a little bit of a thinner cheesecake. So I'm spreading this out a bit, and you can see it's in a pretty even layer. Next, we are going to add in our jam. So this is the hibiscus. You can use strawberry, you can use raspberry, you can use any flavored jam you like. I don't think I'd use jelly. That's going to be a little bit too runny. I would definitely go for something that has a little bit of texture to it, like a jam or a preserve. So we are going to take little spoonfuls of this and plop it in a couple places on top of this cheesecake. All right. I will lick that later. And now you're going to take a knife and you're going to draw it through. Can you see this? Your jam. And just make a few swirly patterns. If you don't like jam in your cheesecake, you can bake it without doing this and add a flavoring to the top, or just eat it with just the cheesecake flavor. I just love jam flavored things, especially this hibiscus pomegranate. All right, so we've got a good amount of swirl going on. We've got all of our ingredients incorporated. Now we're going to bake this for at least an hour, possibly more. Check it at an hour, and it should look like the top is slightly browned and is rised quite a bit. Might be cracking open just a little bit. That's okay. All right, let's get this in the oven and show you what it looks like when it's done. One note. Put a cookie sheet underneath your springform pan, just in case it leaks, so that you don't have a huge mess to clean in your oven, which is way less fun than a mess on the counter. All right, see you soon. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. Our cheesecake came out of the oven about an hour ago, and it's done. I can tell because the top is lightly browned and it's pretty firm. So when it was done in the oven, right when it was done, I shook it and the very center had just a little tiny bit of jiggle. That's how you can tell when it's done. The top's starting to crack and you can see the swirls. So at this point, I want it to cool more and faster, so I'm going to release it from the pan. When you do this, before you release this springform, you actually run a knife all along the outside. So you're going to stick a knife down in here and just gently, make sure you get all the way to the bottom, slide it around. And I'm pushing out with a fair bit of force here against the side of the pan in this vector to try not to cut into the cheesecake. All right, moment of truth. Will it come out in one piece? Doesn't always. Still tastes good. Oh, I think we're going to get lucky. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is our cheesecake. We're going to keep letting this cool, and hopefully it'll be cool enough that we can eat it tonight. I might put it in the refrigerator to cool it off faster towards the end of its cooling cycle. You don't want to eat this when it's hot. You want it to be completely cool, if not chilled. It'll be better. All right, we'll see you guys later when we eat this too.
Holy smokes. So wait, this is fake cheesecake?
It's not fake cheesecake. It's cheesecake. It's just got nuts as cheese.
It's just fake cheese.
That's your cheese. All right, let's dig in. What do you think?
So it's fake cheese cake, not fake cheesecake. Right?
It's delicious.
Okay, it looks good.
What do you think? Oh my God.
Yeah,
so
oh my God.
good.
I feel like I haven't had real cheesecake in a long time. And this is as good or better than what I remember.
What do you think of the texture?
I mean, it's got just a little bit of crispiness on top where it baked. It's creamy in the middle. That graham cracker crust just kind of crumbles and it's got that buttery flavor.
Yeah, and it's got that like thick, rich texture of actual cheese.
Yeah, I don't think anyone that you serve this to would know that it was completely non-dairy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's really
All right,
good.
well, I'm going to keep eating this and let's make some more food later because food.
What are we making next? Oh, tzatziki. You mentioned making tzatziki in one of our other videos.
Yeah,
So we need to...
I'm going to show you guys the tzatziki recipe that I was talking about. So check out our next video for that. It'll be a short one.
It's good. Oh my God. I almost lost it.
Let's do that again.
Don't lose the cheesecake. Okay. Take two.